Hey the internet, this is Lock. It's time for an uncomfortable but strangely optimistic conversation. As you may have heard, The Elder Scrolls Online is switching to a buy-to-play model, dropping the compulsory subscription in March of this year to become ESO, Tamriel Unlimited. I'm going to be upfront about this. I am not much of a fan of The Elder Scrolls Online. Just putting it out there, so if you don't want to hear any more from me about it, that's totally cool. I'm glad you enjoy it, and I think it's great the medium has room for differing opinions, like ours. Now, while I don't think the game is good, the recent announcement of a switch to a buy-to-play model brought a few things into focus that helped me to understand some of the decisions that previously made little sense to me. What if buy-to-play was the plan from the beginning? Now, I don't mean this in a conspiracy nut kind of way. I don't think ZeniMax was trying to trick anyone into anything. People seem pretty happy with the service they've been paying for. Plans change all the time as windows of opportunity open and close. An MMO is a complex machine with so many interconnected parts that the business model is often the last thing on the minds of the designers. They want to make the best game they can, but it is someone else's job to define the limits within which they work. It's no secret that mainstream MMOs with hefty financial backing don't need a submodel to survive anymore. Monetization is always a tightrope and missteps have happened, but there are enough examples of alternative systems done right that it should be clear the systems are sound. Despite this, the submodel still retains some connotations of being a higher quality product. While the pros in free-to-play games are treated to a windscreen wash at the red light, the fully paid-up members of the subscriber country club receive the full valet service at no additional cost. This is the perception, and it's exactly this perception that companies are trying to sell you with the subscription model. Perceived value pricing is the name of the game. This is the term for when the cost is calculated based on how much people are willing to pay rather than the intrinsic value of what they get. It's how you end up with established brands offering products for many times the cost of comparable products from lesser known producers. There's a reason that good marketing and brand consultants are so in demand in industries where perceived value is all, and there's a reason ZeniMax puts so much into marketing their game. Perception of value, implied quality. Despite recent successes of community-led or viral marketing, there's nothing like a pre-rendered epic trailer for that high-end feel. Consider those players not willing to continue their subscription for the ESO Plus perks. The product is the same, the cost is the same, in fact they're getting more for their money than before, but they no longer feel like they're getting value for money. Some will argue that the lower frequency of content updates is the reason, or they may speculate that the quality of the updates will go down. For me, the logic of this position seems flawed. The quality and consistency of updates to ESO was not possible because of its particular business model. It was possible because they had the money for it. There's obviously an issue here with proving a negative, but let's assume everyone involved wants the game to be the best it can be and that a business wants its customers to be happy and satisfied. If they have the money, the content will come. If they don't, it won't. How they get it is not the issue. If they were making enough to support the game with a submodel, they would have continued with the submodel. We've already seen that people are happy to pay more for less with a sub because that's the perceived value of the product. If they can convince enough people to pay it, subscription is the easier option for developers and publishers. Unfortunately for them, it hasn't worked out, and buy-to-play is their solution to this problem. This was the point in my reasoning that I started thinking that this has been the plan for a while. The transition is happening much more seamlessly than it did for other games that changed monetization strategy like Star Wars: The Old Republic and Lord of the Rings Online. I believe this is because the game is rather well set up for the system and by design. If anything, this revelation would mean I had more respect for the designers of this game. Some of the decisions that seemed odd or counterproductive to me look a little more sensible in this light. The system proposed has a lot in common with Guild Wars 2, a buy-to-play game that gets its monetization right in my opinion. The two games have a lot in common, attempting to create the feeling of a dynamic open world through individual exploration and storytelling, being able to share content with other players, a more horizontal character progression system with an emphasis on honing your build and individual knowledge and skill over keeping up with a gear treadmill. Similarly, frequent content updates give players a reason to log regularly, another way to create a feeling that you'll be missing out as a player if you don't stick around. ESO was even a step ahead of Guild Wars 2 when it came to mega server technology. When you're planning a buy-to-play game, you have to be prepared for a more volatile player population numbers. More horizontal progression means the players are spread thinner through the world. I mentioned the horizontal progression because that's another area that suits buy-to-play or free-to-play. Since there's less pressure to log in, players would be more likely to fall behind on the vertical power curve. Then there was the kerfuffle around the bonuses from the collector's edition of ESO. While it's always a grey area, the grey area looks a lot lighter when the currency used to buy items can be purchased with currency earned in-game, just like Guild Wars 2. So while I'll freely admit I don't really like ESO as a game, I'm always happy to stick up for design that makes sense, and a subscriptionless model seems to suit ESO much better. It may well be that you prefer the submodel, and that's fine. You still have the option of paying the same amount for the same content. It's only the perceived value that has changed. Maybe you fear the unwashed masses, a fear that Guild Wars 2 players would laugh at you for if they weren't also nice to everyone all the time. Ultimately, I'm not trying to say that one model is inherently better than another, but I am saying these decisions are not made in a vacuum. And from my perspective, it looks like the decision to make ESO buy-to-play was made a long time ago. So that's what I think. I'm sure there's at least a few people out there who think I'm a terrible person and want to disagree with me, so please do leave us a comment below and tell me why I'm wrong. If you thought that this video was worthwhile, if you got something out of it, even though maybe you disagree with me, maybe you agree with me, maybe I've opened your mind to a whole new realm of possibility, you should probably click that like button, shouldn't you? That's what it's there for. And if you haven't already, maybe just click on subscribe and you'll get more things like this on the regular. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.